Dahil ba dito sa skema o nung scheme ng sinasabing mafia na pagka mayroong usapan sa isang region o ang isang regional officer sa isang ospital at may usapan sa taas, mabilis ang nagiging bayaran. Ang all case rate policy po magmula 2013, consistent. Lahat ng binasa ko sa inyo ay galing sa Commission on Audit. At gusto kong malaman din sa COA mamaya, sino ba ang nakaupo ng panahon na yon at bakit pinayagang magpatuloy? Mr. Chairman and all the members of the committee, lahat po ng government offices, pag nagkaroon ng bidding, eksakto dapat ang binibid price. Nakita ko po sa inyong batas, under the Universal Healthcare Law, totoo, pwede kayo magkaroon ng scheme. Pero it doesn't mean, hindi po ibig sabihin na hindi magkakaroon ng tamang pagbayad sa presyo. And I submit to the members of this committee, this in fact is plunder. Yung bilyong-bilyong nawala dito ay plunder. At ang aking rekomendasyon, kasuhan hanggang sa regional level dahil lalabas po dyan sinong ospital ang nakinabang, sinong kakuntsaba dahil malinaw naman po ang records ng Commission on Audit at madali itong imbestigahan. So with that, we will continue.
Mr.
Deputy Speaker Fernandez.
lang for, okay. Sige, Mr. Chair.
We now recognize the arrival of our chairman of the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, the Honorable Alvarado. And before he speaks, may I recognize our Deputy Speaker El Rey Fernandez, the author of the Bayanihan Part 2. So, the Honorable Alvarado, please.
Maraming salamat, Chairman Defensor. At sa ating po mga kasama, Vice Chairman Remulla, Deputy Speaker Einstein Fernandez, at Deputy Speaker Villapuerte. Kanina po nabanggit ni Chairman Defensor na maraming overpayments na nireport ang COA sa iba't ibang ospital. Chairman Defensor, mga private hospitals ba yung nabigyan ng overpayments ng Philhealth?
Mr. Chairman, dito po sa COA report na pinakita ko from 2013 to 2018, iba't iba pong ospital ang nakitaan dito. Pero ito po kasi, katulad po ng binanggit ko, random check po ito eh. Hindi po naman nila mati-check ang lahat ng kaso sa buong Pilipinas. Pero dahil sa investigasyong to at dahil sa patawag ng investigasyon ng eksekutibo, pwede na po nating isa-isain ang lahat ng mga kaso o pagbayad through the documents of the Central Philhealth at doon po sa region. At kanina po tinanong ni Honorable Remulla, 58% ang private, 42% ang public na binabayaran.
Comsec, naimbitahan po ba natin ngayong araw na ito yung mga private hospital na nakalagay sa report ng COA na nagkaroon ng overpayments ang Philhealth, Comsec?
Your Honor, we have a representative from the Private Hospitals Association via Zoom.
Via Zoom kasama natin. Nakalista sila sa mga nabigyan ng overpayments.
And again, Mr. Chair, this is the COA report. And meron po kasing mga cases ng iba't ibang ang kaso mismo sa legal ng Philhealth. In fact, ang kaso po sa Philhealth ng fraud is about 4,800 cases from 8,000. Yan po ang existing kaso ngayon sa Philhealth na hini-hear po nila. Doon po makikita natin kung sino mga ospital na nandun. Pero hindi pa ho ascertained at eksakto kung ilan at sino-sino mga ospital na yan.
Marami po kasi sa ating mga kababayan, siyempre sa public hospital pumupunta yan, lalong-lalo na kung hindi sila makabayad sa mga private hospital, Mr. Chairman. At yung staff ko, pinagtawag ko po sa ilan sa ating mga government hospitals, kagaya po ng Heart Center. Ano po? Sa Heart Center, ayon sa Accounting Department, as of April 30, 2020, may utang pa yung Philhealth o may hindi pa nababayaran ang Philhealth sa kanila na mahigit 322 million. Pero sa naririnig ko nga kay Chairman Defensor, tila ba ang overpayments ay hundreds of billions? Tama ba, Chairman Defensor?
Batay po doon sa COA observation na sinasabi nila yung AOM, 20% ang kanilang tinatansya. Ang kanila pong prediction na about 153 billion.
153 billion. Kaya po...
From 2013 to present, Mr. Chairman.
Napakalaking pera,
153 billion, Mr. Chairman.
153 billion. Pero yung Philippine Heart Center, 320 million hindi mabayaran ng PhilHealth. Sa East Avenue, as of June 30, may utang na 90 million yung PhilHealth. East Avenue Center po kasi nandito sa Quezon City pero malapit rin naman sa Bulacan, malapit sa Pampanga, mga kalapit probinsya, napupuntahan ng ating mga kababayan. Yung Philippine Children's, may 72 million. Philippine Children's Medical Center, hindi pa bayad ng PhilHealth. Perez District Hospital, mga district hospital sa Bulacan, may ilan-ilan hindi bayad ng PhilHealth. Halos tigwa 1 million. At ito po, nakarating sa aking reklamo mula sa Bacolod, yung Corazon Locsin Montelibano Memorial Regional Hospital, ito po'y mula pa sa Bacolod, sa lugar po ni Congressman Greg Gatsataya, ang hindi pa bayad ay 134.6 million ng PhilHealth. Sa Jose Reyes po, sinubukan natin tumawag, NKTI Lung Center, tila marami pang pondo yung mga ospital na ito, hindi pa sila humihingi ng tulong sa atin sa panahong ito. Hindi pa sila nakakapag-submit ng bayarin sa kanila ng PhilHealth. Pero marami po sa ating mga government hospital kailangan ng saklolo ng PhilHealth ngayong panahong ito. Kaya Mr. Chairman, napakasakit na may overpayments sa sindikato pero yung legal na dapat bayaran para sa mamayang Pilipino, hindi nababayaran. Mr. Chairman, maaari po ba nating itanong sa PhilHealth, sila ba ay computerized na nitong panahong ito? Yung database nyo, naka-computerized na ba kayo ngayong panahong ito, PhilHealth? Anyone
Yes, go ahead.
from PhilHealth?
Good morning po, Jovita Aragona, CIO po. Naka-computerize na po yung claims po natin. Yung mga nagiging dahilan po na hindi nababayaran ngayon, yung tinatawag po natin na RTH kasi meron po silang dapat na i-comply.
Ma'am, excuse me po, ang tinatanong ko po ay kung computerized na po tayo ngayon.
Computerized na po. Sorry po.
Maraming
Computerized
salamat
na po.
Opo.
Thank you.
At doon po ba sa programa ng information technology ng PhilHealth ay foolproof na ba? Hindi na ba pwedeng dayain yung technology ng PhilHealth, ma'am?
Sa ngayon, foolproof siya base doon sa datos na
Sa ngayon,
pumapasok.
foolproof.
Ngayon
Pero
po.
ayon sa COA, pinagloloko tayo ng PhilHealth. Paano naging foolproof yan? Nakapanumpa ba si ma'am, chairman?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am,
Yes
paalala
po.
ko po sa inyo,
Apo.
nakapanumpa po kayo. Pag po may nahuli ditong kabalastugan sa PhilHealth, ma'am, mananagot ka sa sagot
Opo.
mo.
Pwede yung
Ulitin ko po,
Opo.
madam,
Pwede yung ipaliwanag ko, sir.
maaari pa po bang maloko yung gobyerno sa IT system ng PhilHealth ngayong panahong ito?
Go ahead, PhilHealth.
Pwede pong paulit po, sir, ng tanong para maano ko po.
Ma'am, ang tanong ko po, maaari pa po bang maloko ang gobyerno sa sistema ng IT na meron ang PhilHealth ngayong panahong ito?
Maaari din po.
Maaari pa po. Mr. Chairman, diyan ko po nakikita yung malaking problema. Kasi yung PhilHealth sakop buong bansang Pilipinas. Tama po ba, PhilHealth?
Pakiulit po, sir.
Buong bansang Pilipinas?
Yes po, buong Pilipinas.
Opo. At sa laki ng ating bansa, kung tayo ay magsusulatan lamang o magpapadalahan tayo ng mga papeles mula sa iba't ibang ospital papunta sa PhilHealth, itatype ulit natin, hahanapin natin yung mga peke, mga totoo na claim sa PhilHealth, aabutin tayo ng santo-santo. Ano po? Kaya nung pinapanood ko po yung mga hearing, kasi hindi lang naman kayo dito nag-hearing sa Congress. Meron ding hearing doon sa Senate. At pinanood ko po yung hearing at maraming aligasyon ng katiwalian pagdating sa bagong procurement ng IT system ng PhilHealth. Pero Mr. Chairman, kung may problema doon sa procurement, higpitan natin yung procurement ng PhilHealth. Bantayan natin. Tayo naman, kasama tayo, Blue Ribbon Committee, Committee ng Public Accounts sa pangunguna ni Chairman Mike Defensor. Bantayan naman tayo eh. Sunod, kasama pa natin yun sa Senate, nagbabantay rin sila. Para matuloy yung pagdi-digitalize ng mga information pagdating sa Philhealth upang maging maayos talaga yung listahan. Mr. Chairman, hindi ako IT expert, at hindi rin po ako nagmamagaling sa inyong lahat. Marami kong hindi alam. Noong 2016, yung telepono ko analog pa lahat. Nung pagdating ko dito sa Batasan, biglang maraming Viber group. Sabi ko, ano ba yung Viber? Nagpaturo ako kay dating majority leader Parinas kung ano ba yung Viber. Siya naman ang nagturo sa akin. Napilitan akong bumili nung kauna-unahan kong Oppo na telepono. Pero bago ako pumasok ng Congress, analog pa rin yung telepono ko. At dito po, sa pagkakaroon ng COVID-19 pandemic, mas nabuksan yung kaisipan ko na kailangan pala yung technology. At lalo na po, nung nire-revise ako yung usapin sa Philhealth, kaharap ko po si Chairman Mike Defensor, kaharap natin si Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez, kasama natin itong si Deputy Villapuerte. Napag-usapan namin na kailangan niyang ayusin yung listahan ng Philhealth, lalong-lalo na kung doon sa listahan nagkakaroon ng lokohan sa Philhealth. Kung naman mapapatunayan natin na walang lokohan, mas gagaan yung pakiramdam po namin. Pero ayusin pa rin natin yung listahan sa Philhealth. Kayo po bang mga nasa Philhealth ay naniniwala na mas dadali ang trabaho at mas magiging malinis ang konsensya ng bawat isa sa Philhealth kung magiging maayos yung IT systems po natin? Kahit sino po sa Philhealth.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Magandang umaga po. My name is Renato Limsiaco. Ay pumasok sa Central Office as OIC Senior Vice President ng July 2018 po. Yes po, naniniwala po kami that we need to improve our IT system para po ang transaksyon natin ay more transparent siya at saka kumbaga mabilis maproseso yung mga transactions po natin. Yan din po yung ginagawa ngayon na plano po ng ating butihing President and Chief Executive Officer, si General Morales po, na yun po ang sinusundan po natin. Sinasabi nga po, we need to have that robust system para po yung ating membership, ang ating benefits at ating collection ay kasama-sama po sa isang sistema na mabilis po. Mr. Chair, if marapatin po ninyo, kung po pwede ko po konting paliwanag paano po ang takbo ng benefit claims po natin, ang pagbayad po ng benefit claims po natin, kung okay lang po sa inyo.
Senior Vice President, Mr. Luis Siaco?
Limsiaco po.
Opo. Pakiparating na lang po, alam ko nasa ospital ngayon si Chairman Morales. Nasa ospital po ba siya ngayon o nagpapahinga sa bahay?
Hindi ko po alam kung nasa ospital siya o sa bahay lang po siya.
Kasi po nabasa ko sa news, parang meron yata siyang sakit, ano po, sir?
Yes po, sir. At nakakalungkot po na lumabas sa social media yung kanyang medical certificate po.
Opo. Kami po ay nalulungkot pero marami namang magdadasal para sa kanya.
Before you continue, the
Yes, Chairman.
Minority Floor Leader is raising a point of order. Honorable Abante is recognized. What's your point of order? Honorable Abante.
Pakipindot po, Minority Leader, yung inyong unmute button.
Hello, Chairman Alvarado and Chairman Defensor. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not questioning the knowledge that you have on the issue, no. But please take note that we are not the audience here; we're also interpolating. So. Marami kami dito and for the last 20 minutes, kayong dalawa lang, Chairman, nag-uusap. No? And okay yung sinasabi nyo. I don't have any question on that. But please, I know we're going to have a long time in discussing this, but we still have around 6 or 7 that will be interpreting. I think that I do not want to think I'm an audience in this committee. No, I am very much a part of this, and this is not to offend anyone, but just to be able to raise a point of order. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maraming salamat, Honorable Abante. Honorable Abante, para lang klaro, ano po yung point of order po natin, Congressman?
Point of order po, Mr. Chair, is that for more than 20 minutes, kayong dalawa lang po ng chairman nag-uusap. And I feel that instead of being part of the committee where we are going to interpolate also, that I feel that we are the audience here, Mr. Chair. I'm not questioning your knowledge about the issue, but please allow us also to be able to do our job as congressmen. Alam
Yes.
ko na marami kayong dapat sabihin, but you have been here, you have been in Congress for a long time, Chairman Defensor and Chairman Alvarado, and you know for a fact that Chairman of the committees actually coordinate and supervise the committee as far as asking questions are concerned. Yun lang po ang point of order.
Yes, maraming salamat, Honorable Abante. Wag po kayong mag-alala. Medyo naka-monitor naman po tayo doon sa oras para doon po sa mga tanong at lahat ng mga nakapila na mga kasamahan po natin dito.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Before I recognize the Honorable Villafuerte, are you already done by now, the Honorable
Yes,
Alvarado?
Chairman Defensor, gusto ko lang pong marinig, pero maaari po bago natin pagpaliwanagin si SVP Luis Yaco, medyo hindi ko mabasa yung pangalan niya, maliit po kasi. Pwede po bang pakilakihan sa susunod yung pangalan nila?
Lim Siaco po.
Meron pong nakapilang katanungan si Deputy Speaker El Rey, baka pwedeng pagbigyan muna natin, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, as
Yes.
one of the vice chairman of this committee hearing this issue on Philhealth, I just have some clarificatory questions based on your presentation. Maybe Philhealth can answer briefly. Ano po ang status ng mga COA reports based on your presentation? Can you answer that briefly? Ano po ang status nyo? Na-correct nyo na ba yan? Na-filean ba ng case? If you can just answer that briefly para I can follow up with more clarificatory questions, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Vargas, recognized.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, good morning po. With regard to the COA findings, especially for example on the statement of accounts, we have reinstituted po the submission of statement of accounts for all case rates that is covered under circular in 2016 in May 31.
Mr. Chair, just clarification. My question is simply, ano ba po ang status niyang observation? Because, Mr. Chair, after an observation, if the COA is not satisfied, it becomes a disallowance. Gusto ko malaman, is it disallowed already? Meron na bang adverse findings? Was it subject to a special fraud audit? Please answer briefly lang po. After the observation was made, were you already issued a disallowance?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, I will defer to our finance who handles the audit reports.
Mr. Lim Siaco is recognized.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, sir. On the part of the case rate, sir, Philhealth submitted to COA Commission proper request appeal, filed appeal po on to the COA Commission proper on the notice of disallowance for all case rate.
So, Mr. Chair, ano po, na-disallow na po ang That's just my question. So, you were already disallowed?
Yes, sir. May disallowance po.
And then you appealed based on the disallowance?
Yes po, sir. That
Anyway,
was January
Mr. Chair.
22 po, 2018 po, Your Honor.
I take exception kasi to the the recent statement of General Morales that even Superman can't solve the PhilHealth mess. So, ang point ko lang, it's incumbent upon this committee, this body, to help resolve the issues surrounding PhilHealth, which is very, kumbaga, endemic. Baka nga maging pandemic na. Kailangan kasi in the preparation of the committee report, gusto namin dito sa Kongreso ay maka-offer kami ng solution. So, we are not Superman, but we want to solve this issue, no? So, basically, can you answer this question? Are there two types of fund releases to hospital? Yung una ba, those reimbursed for medical bills after patients have been released from hospital? And the second is those hospitals given an estimated medical expense for 90 days requirement under the interim disbursement scheme. Can you confirm, dalawa ba ang types of fund releases to hospital? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, the regular benefit po being paid by PhilHealth is after the submission of claims by the hospitals, then we will reimburse. However, we do have a policy under the board resolution. Ito naman po yung interim reimbursement mechanisms wherein in times of fortuitous events and there are declarations of state of health of emergency or calamity, then we can provide or preposition amounts to the facilities.
So dalawa ba ang types of fund release, yung reimbursement saka yung base ng IRM, yung ba yun?
Yes, ngayon po meron po tayong IRM. Pero hindi po siya regular fund release, only again in times of fortuitous event and there is a declaration of emergency or calamity.
So may we request the PhilHealth to provide the committee yung itong fund releases for at least 1 year for us to be able to prepare a committee report? Next question ko po, Mr. Chair, as part of our hearings, may we require the PhilHealth to submit the list of hospitals, their CEOs, addresses, and the respective amounts given to each of them, and explain who among the hospitals were accredited and who were not accredited prior to disbursements of any amount, Mr. Chair, para lang for us to be able to comprehensively prepare a committee report, Mr. Chair. I move that that we require PhilHealth to submit the mentioned documents, Mr. Chair.
Yes, also in support of the motion of the Honorable Villafuerte, kasi po meron na silang actual cases ng fraudulent cases. Kung pwede lang isubmit yun sa mga ospital at saka po yung letter ninyo sa COA. So the PhilHealth is ordered to submit the particular cases that are pending, fraudulent cases of hospitals and personnel, including the COA letter for reconsideration on the rejection of the all-case rate approval. So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been reading the papers and recently si Senator Ping Lacson has exposed that marami pong nabayaran na hindi accredited. And in the recent hearing, they pointed out a hospital from Katarman na hindi accredited and yet nabayaran. Can you confirm this? That there are unaccredited, there were hospitals that were not accredited and yet reimbursed by PhilHealth? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, with regard to reimbursement on regular benefits, we can pay or reimburse hospitals even if not accredited, but with conditions if it is licensed and only during emergency cases. However, I think, sir, the other one that you are saying for the Qatar ban is on the IRM.
So,
may I clarify lang, sir?
Yes, yes. Yung sa Katarman, sa IRM, in fact, you made advances pa nga, hindi nga reimbursement. Di ba po? Tama po ba?
The Katarman po, as per record, is accredited.
Anyway, while you're looking for that, yung tanong ko lang kasi, so what is the point of accreditation kung ipaparehas mo lang ang pag-treatment sa accredited at hindi accredited? What's the point of having it accredited? Why do it? What's the point?
Sir, again, Mr. Chair, again, Mr. Congressman, the payment for reimbursement, especially for non-accredited, only happens when it is licensed and during emergency cases po. However, if not an emergency case, it is not being paid by Philhealth.
Hindi, yeah. Sige, emergency nga. Ang point ko nga kasi nga is, maraming government hospitals na nagsiservisyo, hindi nababayaran, and yet you prioritize private hospitals. So ang tanong ko lang, ano ang ratio for this pandemic? Anong ratio ng binayad nyo as private sa public? Yung sa IRM. IRM muna tayo. Huwag na muna yung other case rates.
Sir, Mr. Chair, we will provide po the data. I don't
No,
have
wala
it
ka bang
right
rough figure? I read in the papers that you paid more to private than public hospitals.
Mr. Chair, may I-
Si Anos Racing Sun, Mr.
yes,
Chair, the Vice
Yes,
President.
sorry.
Mr.
Go
Chair.
ahead.
To answer the question of Honorable Congressman, sir, on the part of the IRM release, there are, as mentioned, we have 14.97 po, and sa figure na po na ito, ang na-release natin sa private ay amounting to,
Akin na muna to.
sandali sir ha, 7.7 billion to 505 private HCIs and 7.3 billion for 206 government-owned facilities, Your Honor.
Hindi, yung tanong ko lang po, can you confirm that you paid more to private hospitals in terms of value as against government-owned hospitals?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Yan kasi yung mga pinarating sa amin ng local government na ang dami yung payable sa public and yet inuuna niya yung private. Bakit? Why is it so? Why do you do that?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, kung marapatin po ninyo, i-explain ko po ng konti ang proseso ng benefit claims processing po natin at saka yung pagbayad po, if okay lang po sa inyo, sir, Your Honor.
And mamaya na lang, Mr. Chair, kasi later we can give time. Anyway, ang ano lang kasi, ang tanong ko lang, for example, yung provincial government of Camarines Sur has been entertaining COVID patients. The provincial government of Camarines Sur has set up isolation treatment centers since April. And it's already August. Wala pang nababayaran maski piso. Yun lang, and it's hard to sustain this operation. And yet, we hear in the news na ang daming anomalya. So, yun lang ang nakakalungkot din na si Governor Ibardone rin of Samar was complaining na ang dami nilang billable sa Philhealth, amounting to over 100 billion if I am correct, hindi nyo binabayaran. So what my point is, LGUs are helping in the drive to fight COVID, and yet PhilHealth has preference over private hospitals. So pwede ba pakicorrect lang po yan? Kasi ang iniisip ng tao, dahil pag LGU walang anomalya, nagkakaroon ng karamihan ng anomalya, Mr. Chair, if not all, are involved ang private hospitals. So, ang sinasabi ng taong bayan, kaya nyo piniprefer ang private dahil doon nagkakaroon ng mga ghost patients. So, yun ang point ko lang, please. Since April, hindi pa nakakakolekta yan, saka pinapahirapan nyo. Meron pa ako isang tanong, no? Is it true that you only pay patients na tinreat pag nakakomplete ng 14 days? And if they do not complete the 14 days, the hospital cannot reimburse or collect?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, that is a requirement po for the isolation units. That is the 14-day payment for the room and board, including the food, the hygiene kit, the medicines that are provided, because again, the isolation unit is partly the quarantine. However, for confinement po, no sir.
Hindi kasi yung Camarines Sur Medical Center was opened up last March to be an isolation treatment center, not a full hospital. So, we've been treating patients there since April. And wala pa nga nako-collect ni piso. Then, yung ay requirement mo ng 14-day. Ang tanong ko lang, you have to revisit this policy. Why? Paano after the 8th day ay tinest sinwab yung suspect o probable, tapos negative. So, do you still require the 14-day? Kung punong-puno na yung hospital, I think you have to study that. Diba? Yun ang point ko. Kasi kung nga rin, ng 11 days lang, hindi kayo makakakolek kasi 14-day, but sinwab na, confirm na, negative na. What is your statement regarding that?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, yes po, currently we're following the DOH protocol with regard to we will review, but we will be asking also the current protocol.
Anyway, please review. Tapos itong tanong ko, no, as part of the hearing and investigation, Mr. Chair, para talagang we can really dig deeper and help solve this issue, I think we should require Philhealth to submit all the personnel involved in the processing of applications and approval of accreditation, Mr. Chair. May we request the body that Philhealth submit a list of personnel involved in the processing of applications and approval of accreditation so we can really dig deeper kung yung meron talagang sindikato dito, Mr. Chair.
Yes, not only the application for accreditation, pero yung mismong pagbayad, yung pagbayad doon sa mga, the process of payment for claims benefits.
And
So,
Mr. Chair, if you may add, if they can submit also the supporting papers required by Philhealth in support of the application for reimbursement or liquidation of Philhealth advances. Kasi Mr. Chair, pag nalaman natin kung sino ang involved in the processing, malaman natin kung sino ang nagpa-process, sino yung nagli-liquidate reimburse, maybe we can really dig deeper into this issue, Mr. Chair.
Yes, we will do that. Kindly submit the documents as requested by the Honorable Villafuerte. Honorable Villafuerte, your last question before we proceed to the Minority Floor Leader.
Konti na lang po, Mr. Chair, kasi ako talaga very curious dito sa investigation because we don't want this investigation to be media and publicized tapos hindi talaga ma-solve because this issue on Philhealth has been going on even before this administration. Konti na lang po, Mr. Chair, with your indulgence.
Yes,
tanong ko lang
again,
po,
let me just clarify para po dun sa mga dumating at gusto magtanong mamaya muli. Ang ating pong sequence ng topics is number 1, all case rates. Number 2, yung IRM. Number 3, yung OFW. IRM, finance. Ang susunod, OFW. Tapos po yung IT and the administrative cases. No, Honorable Villaferte.
Mr. Chair, para mapabilis lang, ito yung mga tanong ko kasi. Maybe they can already respond in writing as part of the preparation of the committee report. Ito yung tanong ko. Did the hospital specify the specific names of patients and their respective billings? And what specific documentary support were given to Philhealth for each and every patient applying for reimbursement? And what specific documents to support the Philhealth advances and the liquidation of advances to Philhealth? Then my other question is, who in Philhealth from each provincial or city offices going to regional offices up to the central office of Philhealth conducted evaluation or audit the amounts applied for reimbursement of hospitals or the determination of liquidation, and who in Philhealth determines and approves the release of funds to the hospital? Critical po to. Then another, are all these reimbursements and or advances subject to liquidations of hospitals, subject to audit by Philhealth's internal auditor by Commission on Audit? Another, has there been any audit of the financial records of the hospitals to determine whether the entries therein and their supporting documents correspond to the billing submitted to Philhealth? Please take note po Another, can a detailed listing of all funds given to hospitals with their respective patients to which such billings pertain to and their respective amounts thereof be provided to this committee? Another one, did PhilHealth prescribe standard hospital costs in terms of occupancy, laboratory fees, and other costs? I think yes. Are there standard fees payable by PhilHealth for medical doctors' fees? Are the hospitals free to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling? Maybe you can answer this briefly. Meron bang power ang hospital to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling on any case rates? Cases, not case rates.
Dr. Vargas.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, yes po. The hospitals or even the professionals, the care providers actually, doon po sa ating forms nakalagay po doon that they should indicate the actual amount and of course the PhilHealth benefit.
So with this policy, has there been an instance na nag-overprice ang doktor, hospital, which led to the loss of government funds through PhilHealth?
What we pay, sir, is the case rates.
My question, Mr. Chair, is that are the hospitals free to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling? You said yes. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Has there been an instance na inabuso to?
Since the declaration po for the claims of the hospital are really the actual amount, so the doctor, for example,
No,
declares
my question, Mr. Chair, very
55,000.
simple lang po. The PhilHealth allows hospitals to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling. Ang tanong ko lang po, Mr. Chair, is there an instance na naabuso to at magkano? You're under oath.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, sir,
Sandali.
may I clarify
Mr.
lang
Chair, he said yes. My next question is,
po? Ano, sir?
what amount was involved?
Mr. Chair, may I clarify lang po?
Go ahead.
The filing of claims po kasi, nadudun po for example yung mga doctors, kung ang actual charge po nila is 15,000, yun po yung nire-require natin na i-declare. Dahil yun po yung actual na sinisigil nila. However, ang PhilHealth po will only pay, especially pagdating po doon sa case rates, kasama na po doon kasi yung ibabayad para sa mga doktor, which is only like 30%.
Mr. Chair, simple lang yung tanong ko
so,
po
allowed po na sila ay magsusulat doon kung magkano ang kanilang sinisingil.
Mr. Chair, my question lang is, they give the hospitals the authority to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling. Ang tanong ko lang, has there been an instance it was abused? Yes, you said yes.
Mr. Chair, sorry po.
So you're correcting your statement?
Yes, sir, because it was not, the yes part was not on the answer to the question, but...
So I will ask again.
Dr. Vargas, if I may clarify, Honorable Villaferte, yung hospital po pwede silang mag-charge, pero ang PhilHealth, naka-case rate po sila.
Yes po.
So
Yes,
kung
Mr.
kunyari
Chair.
po, chinarge ng hospital 20,000, pero ang case rate 15,000, 15,000 lang po ang babayaran ng PhilHealth. Go
Yes,
ahead,
Mr.
continue.
So my question, are the hospitals free to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling?
The actual, sir, they can actually declare, they should declare actually the actual po.
No, yes or no lang. Are the hospital free to indicate any amount without a limit or ceiling? Yes or no?
Yes, sir, under the actual.
So they're allowed to
Dr.
indicate
Vargas,
any amount?
Honorable Villaferte, Dr. Vargas, yung pong problema ng ospital sa kanila po yun. Hindi nyo po problema yun. Di ba ho? Kung ang ceiling, kung ano man ang policy nila, bahala sila doon. But you have a case rate. Yun
Yes,
lang po
sir.
yung sagot doon.
Yes,
Go ahead, Honorable
No,
Villaferte.
yung tanong ko nga is, has there been an instance na hindi nyo follow yung case rate because the hospital charge a higher limit?
No, sir, we only pay for the case rates.
You only pay for the case rate. Are you, ito, Mr. Chair, importante sa akin to lang kasi while the public is demanding the suspension, leave, removal of PhilHealth officials, Mr. Chair, we still follow the rule that they're innocent until proven guilty. Tama po ba, di ba, Mr. Chair? However, ang tanong ko sa, maybe if General Morales and the Vice Presidents here can agree, ang tanong ko, if they're saying they're innocent, public is listening, it's very important. Can I ask PhilHealth officials if they have no objection
if we request for an AMLAC verification of their bank deposits and bank transaction, Mr. Chair?
Do we have General Morales in Zoom? Andiyan na po ba si General Morales? Wala po si General Morales. Ano bang, Comsec, ano yung official excuse ni General Morales sa committee?
Sir, he was here a while ago, but he's, I think, sir, he left the Zoom conference now. He's not in the Zoom interface, sir.
So kasama natin si General Morales earlier, tapos ngayon po nawala, no? Wala pa ho na tayong information
Yes, Your Honor.
kung anong reason. So, pwede hong may sumagot. Who's the most senior in Philhealth na nandito po sa atin? Sa floor.
Mr. Chair, maybe all the officials here present and in Zoom. Simple question lang po. If they're innocent and they're not hiding anything, are they willing to sign a statement that the AMLAC can verify their bank deposits or bank transactions? Kung wala po silang ginagawang anomalya, walang ninakaw sa gobyerno, are they willing with no objection, Mr. Chair?
Sige. Deputy Speaker El Rey, that would be the last question. I will be asking them one by one. Sa ating po mga kasama nandito, isa-isa po, are you willing to sign a waiver for the AMLA? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yes.
Okay.
Yes po.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, yes.
What about the persons
So,
at the back?
bit here that all those in plenary, and I would think in Zoom, andyan po ba yung mga kasama natin sa Zoom, lahat po ay pumapayag na pumirma for an AMLAC waiver. So maraming salamat po sa inyo. Honorable
Mr. Chair, ano lang let's verify. We only heard 4 persons here. Maybe...
No, I saw all of them say yes.
Okay.
Honorable Villaferte.
And what about the Philhealth officials in Zoom po? Para lang clear that, they're doing this freely and voluntarily.
Before we proceed, there's I see the Honorable Barbers raising his hand. May gusto po bang katanungan? If we can unmute the Honorable Barbers. Before we proceed to the Honorable Abante. Go ahead, Congressman Barbers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At pasensya na po. I just wanted to ask the question that was raised by Deputy Speaker Villafuerte is a valid question, including the request for the AMLAC to check into the bank records of the persons involved. But the most important, those people that agreed, Mr. Chair, are persons at the lower level of the structure of the Philhealth. Sorry to say this, but I guess if we would insist on asking them to waive their rights on their bank secrecy, we should ask General Morales, all the SVPs, and all the RVPs of the Philhealth, because this is where the system seems to be failing, and which makes us conclude, and majority of us conclude, that there is indeed a mafia. So yun po ang tingnan natin, because there are a lot of stories that some of the officials, the RVPs and senior vice presidents, including that guy, Mr. Limshaco, has somehow an interest in hospitals and some interest in the claims, no? Marami pong ganyang kwento. So I'd like to ask further kung sino po yung dapat puntirehin natin dyan sa waiver, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat. So sabi sa katanungan ni Deputy Speaker Villafuerte, ang follow-up po ni Honorable Ace Barbers, hindi lang po sa senior management ng ating PhilHealth, pati doon sa regional officers na kung saan nagsisimula yung usapin at bayaran ng case rates at iba pang mga benepisyo. So we will ask them officially through this committee, Honorable
Mr.
Villafuerte
Chair, briefly lang, and I will
Barbers.
already yield to other Kongs. Yung tanong ko lang kasi, the people here, I assume they're well-meaning. The fact that they're facing us, hindi sila nagsasakit-sakitan, and they're willing to sign a waiver, I have no problem with them. Thank you for being here. No? Ang problem ko po, Mr. Chair, yung wala dito. Sana yung nasa Zoom na matataas na official, bago lang po ako mag-yield. Sana, I would like to ask, sino ba po ang nasa Zoom na Senior Vice President, Member of the Board,
na
Comsec,
Mr. Chair.
yes, before that, Comsec is recognized to please enumerate the PhilHealth officials in Zoom. Pero po yung binanggit ni Honorable Barbers, wala po yung iba talaga sa mga regional eh. But we will include them. We will write them officially. But those in Zoom, Comsec is recognized. Sino po bang nandyan?
Your Honor, before anything else, President Morales left the Zoom interface because he's not feeling well. And we also have the Chief Operating Officer, Vice President De Jesus, via Zoom.
Okay, Vice President De Jesus is recognized. Si General Morales daw po ay umalis dahil medyo masama ang pakiramdam. So,
Mr. Chair.
yes, Vice President De Jesus is recognized. While he's being unmuted, Honorable Fernandez.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we also include all the regional directors na mag-undergo din sila sa AMLAC and all the board of directors ng PhilHealth.
Thank you for that,
Mr. Chair.
Deputy Speaker Fernandez. So the board members, Exicom, and even the regional officers. Vice President De Jesus, are you here? Sino pa, Comsec, yung kasama natin sa Zoom?
Your Honor, we also have Vice President Oscar Abadu.
Yes, Your
Oscar
Honor.
Abadu.
Yes, go ahead. Tanong lang po nila, yun lang pong waiver sa AMLA, kung willing po kayo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Salamat. Sino po ba? Sino next? Si Comsec? Who's next?
Your
Hindi.
Honor.
Yung sino pa ba yung isang vice president dyan na bago lang before I yield to the chairman? Importante po to, the public is demanding this eh. And I really admire people who said yes. We laud
Sino pa yung
your
Comsec?
honesty.
Who's the other one?
De Jesus,
Yes, sir.
nandyan pa po ba si Executive Vice President De Jesus po of the PhilHealth?
Sir, he's not available now.
Sino yung nandyan, Comsec?
Vice President Abadu, sir.
Si
Yes, Your Honor.
Ayan, go ahead. Yung request
Yes,
po
sir.
ng waiver.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
din daw.
siya pa po ba si Vice President De Jesus?
No, sir.
Can you state your name, sir, for the record?
I'm Oscar Abadu.
Sir, are you willing to sign a waiver that you're willing to let AMLAC verify your bank deposits or transactions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
What
you.
about si De Jesus po, sir? De Jesus.
VP, kung may mga kasama na po kayo dyan, baka pwede na pong sila na rin ang magsalita dyan para, yan, mas malinaw na ho.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I'm the Corporate Secretary, Jonathan Mangawang. I'm willing to give AMLAC authority to inquire into my bank accounts.
Salamat po, Attorney Mangawang. Next.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Walter Bacanesa po, I am also willing to be subject to AMLAC.
Salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there, go ahead.
Ito pa.
I'm Dr. Shirley Domingo, and I'm also willing to give authority for AMLAC to look at all my transactions.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, I'm Hilda Diaz. I'm also willing, I'm Vice President, and I'm also willing to be checked by AMLAC.
Salamat po. So, if there are no other...
Mr. Chair, thank you for your time. I will yield and will ask later. I thank everyone for cooperating and in the interest of public. Maraming salamat po. We are all here to really find out sino ba talaga ang involved, sino ba ang matitinong opisyal ng PhilHealth. We are here not to harass you but really solve this issue and problem of PhilHealth na dapat talaga patakbuhin natin ng maayos. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker Villafuerte. Kanina po nabanggit na ninyo doon sa inyong motion at sa inyong pagtatanong, sumigunda po si Honorable Barbers at kasama po si Deputy Speaker Fernandez. Yung pong board members, pati mga regional officers, susulatan po ng ating komite for them to, para po sila din, kung willing sila doon na pumirma ng waiver for AMLAC. So, with that, may we recognize our distinguished Minority Floor Leader. Minority Floor Leader Abante. COMSEC, in the next hearing, can you... Yes. Before you proceed, the regional officers should be invited in the next hearing. COMSEC, so ordered.
Sir,
Honorable Abante, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chairman Defensor. Thank you very much, Chairman Alvarado. Gusto ko lang pong sabihin na more than a year ago, the minority bloc filed a resolution to investigate Philhealth, no? And that's more than a year ago. At gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa ating mga Philhealth officials that this is in aid of legislation. Ibig sabihin yan, maaari nating reviewin ang mandato ng Philhealth, baguhin, at bigyan lalo ito ng stricter provisions. O kaya naman, ang gawin natin, i-dissolve na ang PhilHealth at bigyan ng bagong mandato, o kaya naman asking the PhilHealth officials na mag-resign na po sila upang ating Pangulo would have a free hand in appointing others who could be able to serve PhilHealth more, sapagkat ito pong investigasyong ito, Mr. Chair, ay ginagawa natin hindi upang akusahan ang mga official po ng PhilHealth, kundi upang ingatan po natin ang contributions ng mga milyon-milyon na mga nagbabayad ng PhilHealth contributions na po. Sapagkat yan po ay pera nila. Hindi po yan pera ng gobyerno, hindi po yan pera ng sino man tao, kundi pera po yan ng milyon-milyong mga nagbabayad ng kontribusyon. Ano po? O kaya naman, kung dapat na nating ibigay sa private sector ang PhilHealth at gawing isang korporasyon kung saan ang gobyerno at ang private sector ay partner tungkol dyan para maiwasan po ang korupsyon. Pero ilan po ba ang vice president ng PhilHealth? Sa pagkakaalam ko, isa lang po ang presidente. But I'd like to ask, ilan po ba ang vice president ng PhilHealth?
PhilHealth recognized.
Sino pwede sumagot dyan?
Yung Dennis Mas po, Senior Vice President for Management Services. Ang PhilHealth, merong isang President and CEO. Below him, meron tayong Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. And then below pa, meron
Sino
tayong...
po yun? Sino yun? Sino yung Senior Vice President?
Yung Senior Vice President, first, myself, Dennis Mas, followed by Renato Limsiaco, by Jovita Aragona.
Ilan po kayong Senior Vice President?
7, Your Honors. 7. 7.
Okay. Ilan yung Vice President?
Yung Vice President, kaya naman. Si Mr. Abado, si... 4, no? 4. May araw tayong 4 na area Vice Presidents. And then 16 regional Vice Presidents, Your Honor. At saka 4 na 5 branch managers. Yun yung mga salary grade 26 up. Yun yung mga officers ng PhilHealth, executive managerial officers.
Matanong ko lang po, bakit napakaraming Vice President? Ibig sabihin, meron pong iba't ibang function yan, di ba?
May kanya-kanyang functions po, sir, Your Honors.
And they are all important functions, as important as all occupying the Vice President's position.
Yes, Your Honor. May kanya-kanyang mga sariling offices, unique functions sa buong corporation.
Ako ay nagtataka lang ako sapagkat napakaraming vice president and senior vice president. Anyway, meron po kayong accreditation fee. Hindi po ba? Tinatawag po yung accreditation fee
Meron
that
po, Your
runs
Honors.
into millions of pesos. Ano po?
Meron po, Your Honors.
Magkano po yun?
Sa details po, Your Honors, ako kasi Senior Vice President for Management Services, HR at saka Physical Resources yung hawak ko. May I turn over kay SVP Ish Pargas sa Health Finance Policy Sector.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, yes, meron po tayong accreditation fee, especially for the healthcare provider institutions, pero wala po tayong accreditation fee for the professionals. For the amounts po, Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, may I provide the amount for the accreditation fee later? I'm just asking po.
Okay, so ibig sabihin na hindi mo alam at this time. Hindi mo alam yung magkano.
Hindi ko lang po memorize because we have several institution types. We have the hospitals, we have ambulatory clinics, we have freestanding dialysis clinics, maternity care, animal bite. So we have different institutions po na paying for accreditation fee. But I'll get the data po.
Pwede ba pakisubmit ninyo ang listahan at amount sa ating galang-galang na chairman ng Public Accounts, please, committee?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman po, yes, we will abide po.
Okay, so yan po ba iniipon ninyo o nagagasta taon-taon?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, I will ask the finance on how the accreditation fees are being booked in our financials.
My goodness, you should be prepared in this hearing. Bakit palagi na lang sinasabi ninyo yung hindi nyo alam? What's this? Are we conducting a hearing here na wala kayo pwedeng sabihin sa amin?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, I apologize po because the amount,
You really have to apologize because you are not well prepared.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm asking po because our Senior Vice President for Finance is here. Sila po yung nagbubook ng mga income ng ating korporasyon. So I will ask po how it is
Hindi
booked.
sila ang sumasagot? Why are you the one answering? Why not the Vice President of Finance answering?
The VP of Finance is recognized. Kindly reply to the Honorable Minority Floor Leader. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, for the accreditation fee po ng ating healthcare providers for the year 2019 po, we received 26.6 million pesos, Your Honor.
For the year what?
26.6 million, Your Honor.
That is only for the year 2019.
Yes, Your Honor.
For the year 2020.
20 ano, sir? Come again, sir? 20, sorry po.
2020.
2020.
2020, let me check. As of June? As of June?
Yes, sir, as of June.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, the accreditation fee po as of June 2020 po ay 7.9 million, Your Honor.
How many years have you been charging, have you been asking accreditation fee? How many years have you been doing that?
Sorry, Your Honor, hindi po po.
Since when did you start asking accreditation fees? Since when?
Dr. Pargas, kindly answer. Sorry, Your Honor.
Yes, Dr. Vargas.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, the collection of accreditation fees started even when we started the accreditation of healthcare facilities since 1995 po. And just to update...
Since 1995.
Yes, as I was informed, sir. Sir, just to update lang po, for level 3 facilities, we collect 10,000. For level 2 facilities, we collect 8,000. For level 1 facilities, it's at 5,000, sorry. For infirmaries at 3,000. For freestanding dialysis and ambulatory surgical clinics, it's at 5,000. For maternity care providers, for our TB DOTS packages, we collect 1,000 po.
So they have been paying for the past 15 years now.
Especially po for the hospitals, for the other facility, Mr. Chair, for the other facilities po, when PhilHealth started accrediting them, so doon lang po nagsimula yung kanilang accreditation. Because through the years po, we have added facilities, healthcare facilities, to be accredited by PhilHealth. But we started with hospitals.
If say for example, in 2019, you have more than 20 million that have given accreditation fees. Therefore, in 15 years' time, it would amount to more than 250 million. Am I right?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, probably, sir, but we need to check because, again, as I've said, from the start, it was only the hospitals. However, the other healthcare facilities, we started accrediting them through the years lang po. Hindi po siya from the start natin ina-accredit.
Well, let me ask, are you saving that amount of money or are you using it?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Congressman, pakiulit lang po. Sorry.
Are you saving that? Yan ba'y inyong hindi ginagalaw o ginagamit ninyo?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, ang pera po na nakokolekta po natin sa accreditation fee po from our HCP ay pumapasok po sa account ng PhilHealth. Ito po ay one fund po tayo. Ibig sabihin po, ginagamit din po natin ito para sa pagbayad ng ating mga benepisyo po para sa ating mga miyembro po.
That is a separate funding, am I right?